Murango, Senator Mohamed Abdullah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose this motion, this bill. Mr. Speaker, Kenyans do fundraising not for fun. They fundraise for a purpose. And nobody likes to fundraise. It is not a very simple task. It's a very hard task, very challenging. But people go through it because they need to do that. And if we are coming with such a bill to suppress Kenyans, Kenyans are already suppressed in many ways. And if we continue to suppress them, even by not doing fundraising, to cater for their needs, this is one thing which is not really fair we're not being fair to Kenyans. As legislators, we need to think twice before we pass this bill. Mr. Speaker, fundraising is not a sin. It is being done by everybody worldwide, even politicians in America, anywhere they do fundraising. But I know this is one way of the government wanting to suppress more so the politicians not to do fundraising because they have enough money for their campaigns and everything. So they want to suppress others who wish to fundraise for their politics. Mr. Speaker, but if you want to punish one person, you don't punish the whole country or everybody. You should come out clearly and do what you think you want to do, but not punish the poor Kenyans who are fundraising for a really good purpose. I wonder how many Kenyans have access to the CS who would go and get the permits for their burials. I can assure you, Mr. Speaker, there would be queues and bodies rotting in mortuaries because they have no permits to fundraise, to take their bodies for burial. Because we know most of Christians, well, I'm a Muslim, I know we bury within 24 hours. But Christians, they have to fundraise to take their bodies to their areas where they come from for their burials. You can imagine 14 days to do to apply for the permit, another 10 days for one to think about it. That is already a month. The body is rotting in the mortuary, the bill is piling. Yeah? That is actually another way of punishing Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. And again, on the cancellation bit, you might get that permit, do all the preparations, spend quite an amount of money for those preparations, and somebody just decide and wake up and cancel that permit. And once the permit is canceled, you have to stop everything, and that fundraising has to stop. Really, are we being fair to Kenyans by passing this bill? I don't have much, Mr. Speaker, but I want to say that the government should stop suppressing Kenyans. We have suppressed Kenyans enough, and all these things, they go back to us as legislators who are here making these bills, passing them, and that's why most of the time, me as a person, I don't pass these bills. I don't even contribute to them because I know most of these bills we are passing here are suppressing Kenyans. And this is one of them. So, Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I oppose this bill, and I hope it's not going to be passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Abdullah. Before I allow Senator Karungtangwa to give his contributions, I've got a communication to make. This is a message from His Excellency the President on the nomination of Mr. Gerald Nyaoma Arita for appointment to the position of Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Honorable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 47, I received a message from His Excellency Honorable William Ruto, PhD, CGH, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, on the nomination of Mr. Gerald Nyaoma Arita for appointment to the position of Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. The message was transmitted to the Senate via a letter reference EOP/CAB.26/4A, volume V/13 dated 11th of November 2024 by the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, Mr. Felix K. Koskei, EGH. Pursuant to Standing Order 47.1 of the Senate, I shall now report the message to the Senate. You are most graciously notified that His Excellency the President has, in exercise of the prerogative vested in the head of state and government, caused the nomination of the candidate, the position of Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. In that regard, and pursuant to Section 13B of the Central Bank of Kenya Act, Cap 491 of the Laws of Kenya, we submit to both Houses of Parliament the presidential nomination of Mr. Gerald Nyaoma Arita for appointment as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. To aid Parliament in its consideration and approval processes, we convey herewith the Certificate of Presidential Nomination, number 6 of 2024, alongside the nominees' curriculum vitae and testimonials, together and the report of the Public Service Commission on the recruitment of the nominee. In recognition of the pivotal role played by the Central Bank of Kenya in steering the nation's monetary policy and ensuring economic stability, we humbly request that the nomination be considered with the utmost priority. End of quote. Honorable Senators, Section 13B1 of the Central Bank of Kenya Act provides that there shall be 2 deputy governors who shall be appointed by the President through a transparent and competitive process and with the approval